We are back at the show once again. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here with a July TV update. And just because it's the summer months doesn't mean there isn't any news going on in the world of television. And as always, here to bring us up to date on what's going on in the TV world is my good friend. She is the lead writer, or one of the lead writers, of the awesome site you got to check out today when it concerns the TV ratings world. It's the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out all the great things that they're doing today. Original stories, original scripts, original programming. Also, as well, they're talking always about what's going on as far as ratings news each and every day with daily updates. Also, as well, reviews of shows and so much more. It is the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check it out today. It is my good friend. It is Jessica Boggs. Jessica, so great to have you back on the show. I know we got a lot to talk about when it comes to summer months and TV programming.
There's a lot going on, especially in premieres and in the month of July.
Sweet. That's awesome. So let's focus in on some of the things that you want to talk about right now. And we'll start off with the broadcast networks because it always inevitably starts off with the broadcast networks because that seems to be where a great bit of the news happens. We'll start off with ABC right now. I know there's some really good things going on there as far as updates that you want to give as far as their summer programming. I know of the three networks I know of the major networks that are out there. I think ABC focuses the most on summer programming, but that could be just a me thing. But I don't know I don't know how you feel about it. But like I said, I think ABC focuses a great deal on its summer programming.
Well, recently we got the results of the ratings of especially their Thursday night lineup. We got the Holy Moly so far is hitting a little bit, while Family Food Fight and the new drama Reef Break was a huge miss. Overall.
Now, okay, but Holy Moly, I had already said as far as a show like that, I missed Wipeout. I missed Wipeout. I think that show should have stayed on the air. I think that show did have an audience consistently year in, year out. Holy Moly, I guess to an extent, it's executive produced by Stephen Curry and all that, and it does have some elements of the Wipeout type feel, but doesn't quite feel that niche entirely. But it does a great job of being unique in and of itself, as combining a miniature golf type theme with the Wipeout series. So I'm happy for them. I know Family Food Fight, like you said, has been mainly a miss so far, but there is. But I also want to talk about one of the biggest losers right now going on in the summer programming, and that is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, on a Friday night, and it's been airing on Friday nights for quite some time, and it's been hitting consistently at recently 0.2, 0.3 in the ratings, but mostly 0.3. Even Quantico did not hit that.
And that's not good. And that's not a good at all, especially for something that has had such good vibes as far as on the screen on the big screen for obviously Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, and now Spider-Man Far From Home, which have all hit for Marvel this summer. And now you have something with the Marvel tagline, which unfortunately, even with the changes in storyline to Coulson's character, how he's developed into some type of doppelganger type deal, and all that's going on in Shield, Agents of Shield, it's not connected with audiences or any type of bounce back. I think that show is on its last legs. I just think Marvel has a great fondness for it. That's why they'd never wanted to really pull the plug. But unfortunately, I think at some point in time, there's got to be a push comes to shove type deal with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it comes to keeping them on the air. I know you got a lot to talk about when it comes to CBS. I know there's a lot of reality TV programming that they fall back on during the summer months. So bring us up to date with what's going on with CBS.
So Love Island this week is premiering, and we at the TV Ratings Guide, we did a collaborative with contributors, and we predicted that Love Island is going to be a miss. Some of the highlights on it, that the target audience is completely different from regular CBS shows. And one of our contributors said this has all the ingredients to work on MTV. And Big Brother is the exception, not the rule.
Do you
And
think they're taking some notes from their, I guess what you could say, their related cousin in MTV, because it is all part of the Viacom network?
well, because the merger is, they're currently having merger talks with Viacom, home of MTV at the moment. And we'll see how that goes. But for now, I don't know if CBS's audience is going to watch it, especially since we've seen from Paradise Hotel, they tried airing it every night, almost 5 nights a week. Love Island is going to be aired like 5 nights a week, and the results on Fox has been disastrous for Paradise Hotel.
But there's still other things. You talked about Instinct, I think you wanted to go ahead and mention too. Plus, Elementary is in its final season. One of my favorite shows.
I feel like Instinct right now at the moment is literally doing a whole lot worse than Elementary, as currently airing on a Thursday night, but not that much. And its premiere rating for Instinct was terrible, kind of like Ransom level on a Saturday night, except it's on a Sunday night where you considerable ad time, just like on Thursday nights.
But also, like you said, Elementary is doing okay for its final season. Unfortunately, it's going to be on the way out for fans like me. But I think it's already had its years, so I think it's something that I'll remember fondly as a pretty good show and something that I like to go back to time and time again. But there are other great networks out there that you want to go ahead and update us on. What's going on with NBC? Because we talked about ABC, we talked about CBS, but you can't go without the quote-unquote big three, as we used to say in the past. It's NBC. I know they all like to. I know they like to do. I know they like to do. I know they like to go ahead and base a lot of their stuff off of competition shows, such as such as American Ninja Warrior, such as Bring the Funny, and Hollywood Game Night.
Yeah, Bring the Funny and Hollywood Game Night, they're premiering this week. And I don't know how Bring the Funny is going to do at that moment, as it looks like it's a carbon copy of Last Comic Standing. And Songland just did okay, even after America's Got Talent.
But there's also America Ninja Warrior, which I know has been a staple of summer programming for NBC. Your thoughts on how it's performing at this point in time for the network?
Well, the whole entire network has been down ratings-wise considerably, but we got American Ninja Warrior now on fractionals, though, and that's because the whole network is down. And at this point in time in 2019, high fractionals are okay to some extent, but there's kind of like a part where you just need to retool the whole entire thing just for the cost to go down a little bit.
Well, that doesn't sound very good for NBC, which is coming off another great fall season for them, and something that, as the current #1 network on television, is on broadcast television, any type of chink in the arm, any type of flaw in the armor per se is not a very good one for them. So let's see if they can go ahead and turn that around either later in July, August, or when it comes to back to another fall season for them. You've got Fox still there, still trying to go ahead and make their way through as far as into that whole limelight when it comes to the broadcast networks. What are they doing as far as for the summer months, and how's it going for them?
It's mostly hit and miss. While their game show, Spin the Wheel, is hit pretty much okay, like in high fractionals, though. That's pretty good for Fox. And you have, but you recently have a new show that's on Sunday nights called What Just Happened with Fred Savage, and that premiered to like a point two. And even on Fox, that's a disaster. Like it's literally on CW level ratings. And that's typically for a show that's CBS produced on the CW at that high level. And that ended up being what just happened marks as the lowest rated show on Fox right now. And for a premiere, that's a disaster.
No, that's not good at all. That's not good at all indeed. Once again, I have Jessica Boggs from the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out her awesome work today on that site, plus all the other great work that's there as well. We cannot leave when it comes to the broadcast networks without, like you mentioned before, real briefly, the CW. So there's always something going on with the CW. I want to hear an update on what's going on with the CW when it comes to their summer programming and how it's faring at this point in time in the year.
Well, CW recently did a premiere date shuffle with the horror stories and Bulletproof moving to like August 7th, while the horror stories one moved to a later time from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Plus, also with like the cheap summer imports, I'm guessing with the performance of Burden of Truth, I'm guessing moving the premiere date of Bulletproof must have given it some pause, because Burden of Truth is not exactly doing well. And we did a collaborative on their CW strategy, which we basically said like the CW basically renewing everything at the moment. And that it's notable that originals are being tried in the summer on Sundays at 8 p.m. and they're not doing too well there. Burden of Truth at the moment is getting rounded up point ones and once dragged down a rerun of the show Supernatural to the infamous .0 adults 1849 rating.
Ouch. Ouch indeed. That is getting very ugly for the CW. Trying very hard to get that 0.0 once again. It just never seems to go right for the CW. Sometimes I ask myself, how does that network stay in business? I don't get it. Sometimes I just don't understand. I mean, is it actually profitable for this network to stay on the air? Sometimes I'm not even sure. But you know what?
Well, it's basically they're in cheap imports.
Well, it is cheap, all right. It's cheap, but it's getting cheaper all the time with 0.0s out there and 0.1s, because that's not a good sign for any network, including the CW, because I know the ratings have always been small, but this is getting minuscule. And when it goes that far, they've got to be asking themselves, what is the future of the CW if that's the case? Once again,
like the Netflix deal at the moment is they're trying to phase this out. And at a certain point, it seems like they should start canceling some shows, because based on current linear ratings overall, there has got to be a ratings limit if Warner Brothers moves forward with its new streaming service.
And that is still up in question, because you've seen the news like I have after the issues with Swamp Thing and them deciding to go ahead and recalibrate and rethink about what they want to do with the Warner Brothers streaming service, at least, excuse me, the DC streaming service. That has not been exactly the biggest hit in the world for Warner Brothers. with the sudden cancellation of the Swamp Thing and all the other stuff that's going on. Even though there's been some pretty good shows that have appeared on the DC streaming service, it has been disappointing. So we're going to see how that melds into a possible larger Warner Brothers streaming service. But still, the CW is having some hard times, and really, the future of the CW is, it has to be in question at some point in time in the near future, because of the fact that they're just getting continually minuscule ratings and they're not going up. They're still either at or below what they're even doing before. So that's not a good sign indeed. My friend, though, there's still a lot to talk about when it comes to television. I know cable outlets that are there. There's still a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to summer programming. I know, like you said, Snowfall has made a big push for a new season coming up. I know also as well Legion has in its final season coming up as well. So what's going on with FX, the Viacom networks, TNT? I know there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the world of cable.
Well, recently as we've seen in the ratings, we've been watching Baskets doing poorly, and which is pretty much an understatement. It's going below the 0.1 for a lot of its airings, and it's airing like multiple seasons at this point. And Baskets, it has the question of whether it's going to be profitable or not, or whether critical acclaim is going to even save it.
Because that is a show that has relied on critical acclaim for quite some time. But with Disney now owning the FX network, I don't see a very long tolerance for those type of shows that do that poorly. You and I have both seen in the past what Disney has done in regards to properties that are either on the fringe or below. They don't hold that type of sentimentality when it comes to shows like that. So you know what? I don't see a great future for Baskets personally.
I don't either. And we also have shows that are coming up. It seems like the dramas at the moment on FX are doing generally better than the comedies are. So at this point, they're going to probably be phasing out their comedy department or just rebranding it all together. Especially now that FXX is getting somewhat phased out a little bit. I mean, it's always been small, but FXX is not exactly setting the ratings world on fire.
Even with a new season of Archer.
Yeah, the new season of Archer, it's in its 0.1 range, but that network has been, at the moment, it's been deprioritized, especially with the Disney acquisition.
I believe that. And that's a shame because Archer is one of the few shows on FXX that a lot of people really are fond of, and I think it's a show that if people need to go out of their way to see, because it truly has at times some great hilarious moments, and still the satire and the whole show itself, it seems to be really funny if you get a chance to check it out, or if you can try and find it, because FXX, like you said, is really hard to find on a lot of cable networks out there. So what else is going on in the world of cable? Because I know you wanted to talk about the Viacom networks, which is Paramount, VH1, MTV, Nickelodeon, and all that. But I also know that there's some issues going on in the land of Turner Network Broadcasting.
Starting out with the good news that's going on in Viacom, Paramount Yellowstone is still continuing to set record highs in the ratings. I know its most recent episode surpassed the premiere episode of season 2, and it set a new series high at a 0.54. And at this point, Paramount, I think, is going to be really happy with this,
Well, didn't they extend it 2 seasons, or did they just extend the season right off the bat? I know they did something as far as a renewal is concerned really
They
quickly.
renewed it for season 3 way before season 2 ever premiered.
That's what I thought. Okay, okay. And I wanted to. I thought so. They did. I thought they made news like that really quickly on that show. So we are seeing the benefits from that. People are really digging Yellowstone. So I agree that there's that could be a shining light in the world of what we see when it comes to the Paramount Network. But is anything else on the Paramount Network hitting? Because you and I were laughing on our last time that we had a chance to talk about Marriage Rescue. Is anything else hitting on that network outside of Yellowstone?
Well, at the moment, it's just like, eh, it's meh at the moment, kind of like a hit or miss. Lip Sync Battle, which usually hits like in the point twos in its earlier run, usually dies down in the summer, though. And that show is probably not that cheap to make, but I don't know if it got renewed for season 6 or not.
And that's a shame if that's the case, but there's still a lot of other programming that's out there. And I know that you want to talk about some of that as well. But I know with the reality shows in MTV, they have made even a bigger switch when it comes to the lineup of reality shows and who's being a part of it. Has that garnered them has that garnered them more attention, more ratings, and more interest when it comes to viewers?
Well, at the moment, you see all the ratings right now are down at both VH1 and MTV, and right at the moment, VH1 still doing pretty good, but MTV is like in, I think it's like at the point high point ones to like point sevens at its best. So, and that's, but they also have Pluto TV coming up, though, getting their own Pluto channels that Viacom had recently acquired, fairly recently. And a lot of their shows are going there for digital content.
Absolutely, and there's still a lot to think about when it comes to there. And I guess, like you said, well, VH1 going on the upswing and having at least a decent summer, that's actually kind of a surprise because VH1 is almost like the forgotten network when it comes to what's going on in the world of cable because VH1 was such a powerhouse back in the day and really hasn't been talked about with MTV's focus on reality television shows and a lot of the other stuff that goes on in the world of Viacom. So definitely something good to see when it comes to what's going on with the world of cable. But again, I know there's a lot you want to talk about when it comes to Turner Network broadcasting with TNT, TBS, and all that. I know there's been a major push for some of their shows like Claws, Animal Kingdom. They make a heavy push on those original content shows. Has it paid off for TNT and has it paid off for Turner Network broadcasting?
I would say no, because both Claws and Animal Kingdom are down like basically double digits this year. They're not even in the point threes or point fours categories anymore, especially on their major network. And I think a lot of it also has to do with part of it being aired on TBS, which is basically the comedy network too, which is basically being turned into like a general entertainment hub. And now I don't think it's paying off that much. But I also saw, if honestly, I just kind of feel like it's kind of sad, but also surprising that all the Turner networks at this point, including all the news channels, has been pretty much been heavily mismanaged. That I can see. And we got the other big news with all the cable news networks, with CNN getting into like a huge distant third. And most of their shows, even like 6 months ago, they're doing okay, but now they're hitting like below 0.1 in the ratings. And one of the articles that I've read suggested, oh, my generation's cutting the cable cords. And that's not even the case, as you've seen with Yellowstone hitting.
Well, I kind of disagree with you. I think there's still a lot of cutting cords, a lot of people going to so many other streaming outlets because there is a whole bunch of streaming outlets out there. And that's a shame to see when it comes to CNN because I think that their original programming that they do, like the 80s, the 90s, the movies that they're coming out with, that series, Apollo 11, and other shows that they do, other original programming that they do. It's a shame to see that they're not drawing in the audiences that they like because it really has some good original programming that they focus on. But yes, I think there is some cord cutting going on because we're looking right now, people are focusing away from and shifting away for the most part outside of the successes that you see with Yellowstone. They're shifting away from the broadcast networks and they're moving into other things right now. I mean, all the talk right now is about Stranger Things season 3. I mean, I just went through it this weekend. I know I had a good time and enjoyed it. And that's something that Netflix still holds its hat on to is its original programming. But as Disney Plus comes out, like we were talking about with Warner, Universal, Apple, so many other entities coming into the streaming service field, plus you have CBS All Access, Hulu, and so many others that are already out and existing. We're all vying for that. They're all vying for that piece of the pie when it comes to the attention of audiences. And if people want to go ahead and cut that cord, there obviously is a lot of programming that they can turn to if they do cut that cord.
But yeah, but there's kind of like, which is kind of like, I'm thinking they're probably moving away from the whole entire cable news sphere in general. They probably may need to rethink their audience at this point.
Yeah, they probably do need to rethink their audience at this point when it comes to the broadcast networks and also cable as well. Well, my friend, it's always great talking to you. But before we go, you've got to fill us in about what is going on at the TVRatingsGuide.com with all the great stuff that's going on out there. Please fill us in with what's going on with your awesome site known as TVRatingsGuide.com.
Well, we started a new series called Contributor Collaborative, where we have all the contributors giving their opinions on a lot of different TV topics with the ratings and everything else. And we just published our second one. It was about Love Island, and which I briefly discussed on the CBS portion. And we did the first part, we were talking about the CW strategy and what's next for Fox altogether. And we talked about how the CW basically renewed everything and the future of Fox's summers. So it's basically our two in-depth articles that we're doing. We also have our original shows going on with Network, The Bullpen, the new series College, and we have the network spinoff Writer's Block. That has been chugging along okay. But we also have a summer off topic where people can comment and go off topic about things that have nothing to do with TV, something a little bit on TV. Plus, in addition, we have our daily ratings sites and our reviews will be starting back up hopefully soon.
That's right. There's a lot of detail, so people have just got to go ahead and check it out on this awesome site known as the TVRatingsGuide.com. Once again, that's the TVRatingsGuide.com. Well, Jessica, that's a lot of news that you broke down for us in the what supposedly has been the quiet summer months as far as the TV season is concerned. as people gear up towards another great fall season. So, you know what? There is still a lot of action, even though in the summer months, a lot of people think it's quiet. So that's great to see that there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of news out there. And as always, we truly appreciate you filling us in on what's going on in the world of television. And I look forward to hearing more when it comes to the TV rating scene, when it comes to your August TV update, or if you need to talk to us sooner, always popping on the show whenever you need to talk about what's going on in the world of television.
Because a lot of the ratings are basically like hit or miss, and the marketing strategies too.
Exactly. And I tell you what, a lot of people these days are getting very picky about what they're spending their time on when it comes to television. You know, we see it all the time where people go ahead and latch on to one thing, but they don't latch on to many other things. So when it comes to what they watch, because there's so many things to do out there and so many different distractions and diversions, TV watching at this point in time in 2019 is so much different than what it was before, even 10 years ago, even 20 years ago. So I'll tell you what, it's just great to see so many different options out there for people, but it's always an awesome chance to get to talk to you, my friend. Once again, it's Jessica Boggs. You got to check out her awesome work today on the TVRatingsGuide.com. My friend, it's always great to have you on the show. Looking forward to the next time you pop on the show when you let me know when you need to talk more about the TV rating scene right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos.